We'll now turn to item 5 on the agenda, the presentation on construction at our Woodside inspection facility. We are joined by Deputy Commissioner for Operations, People, and Innovation, Evan Hines. Is your mic on? Okay.
Is the red light off?
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, that's better. Thank you. Okay, so transforming the TLC Woodside facility, reconstruction and enhancements is what I'll be going over today. Why are we reconstructing? To mitigate structural degradation and foundation issues that we had with the previous administrative building, and to meet increasing demand for inspection services. The original scope called for new administrative building, new parking garage and visitors parking lot, new more conveniently located restrooms for staff that meant closer to lane operations, and for licensees near the waiting areas that they wait while their vehicles being inspected. Additionally, new equipment and replacement of aging equipment is part of the scope, such as all-wheel drive dynamometer, which will allow us to test meters for all-wheel drive vehicles, which our current equipment cannot do. A new speed lift, new brake tester, new garage doors for all lanes, new signage throughout, and a new inspection facility roof. A new inspection lane would also be available at the end of the construction project, and a new traffic flow pattern. So that scope was actually put together almost 10 years ago in 2015. But since then, more recently, we took into consideration fleets of the future, and we enhanced the scope to include a pretty robust electric vehicle charging program. So when finished, the facility will have 70 EV chargers, 30 of them level 3 fast chargers, and 40 level 2 chargers. We did receive funding. Funding was approved by the Office of Management and Budget, $31.6 million. And the city will seek partial reimbursement from grants such as Con Ed's Power Ready program. And this program also supports multiple city initiatives, such as Mayoral Executive Order 90, which calls for the acceleration of EV adoption amongst city fleets. Green Rides, of course, which requires 100% of rideshare trips to be conducted by either zero emission or waves by 2030. And Plan YC, which has initiative in there transitioning taxis and for-hire vehicles to EVs. So if you haven't seen the former administrative building, so this slide, the top image is the former building, which was an addition that was built in the 1980s. That's the building that was having foundation issues. The photo on the rendering on the bottom is the future administrative building. What the new building accomplishes is the cantilever design reduces the negative impact of poor soil quality by raising it, which is what was causing the structural problems with the old building. And it opens more ground space for inspection operations. This is just a zoomed in photo of a rendering of the new building. This cross section of the back of the building will give you an idea of everything that's going to be delivered. On the left-hand side, is the new parking lot for visitors to the facility. Then the inspection lanes are in the center, as they are now. And to the right is the parking garage, which has 3 levels, ground level and second and third levels. The fourth floor will be USB's administrative operations, so office space for USB as well as locker rooms are in that first section of the new office structure. And the top floor will have other administrative offices such as IT, facilities management, and fleet management. To the right, there's some shared spaces. That big square on the right-hand side is actually a conference room at the top, and it's actually a training facility on the bottom level. This is a rendering of what the facility will look like inside. It capitalizes on natural light by having glass throughout, glass on the outer structure, as well as glass inside to reduce the reliance on electrical lighting where possible. And the increased demand for inspection services. There's been a 42% increase since 2014 till 2024. In 2014, over 81,000 vehicles were licensed. Now there's nearly 116,000 vehicles licensed. So in order to meet that demand, we will have a new vehicle flow pattern that will allow us to increase inspection capacity by 200 and reduce street congestion and risks associated with arriving and exiting traffic, which I'll show you on the next slide. So the diagram at the top is the current, the pink is the current traffic flow pattern. Vehicles coming in for inspections come across the B.Q.E. West Street, and they turn in at the north end of our property. In doing so, there's also vehicles exiting the inspection lanes. The future traffic flow, the second diagram on the bottom of the page, you'll see that we have a new south entrance, which eliminates that traffic crossing in front of the exits of the lanes, and also allows us to fit more vehicles while people are waiting for their appointments. We could fit more vehicles in the yard, thereby reducing the chances of overflow out onto the street. This is the rendering of the building where the south entrance will be. All licensees will enter here, whether for hack site services or inspection services. Here's a view of the new hack site office. It moves the office out of, it was previously in the lanes, and it moves it out to the other side of the property and provides dedicated on-site parking, which wasn't available previously. Here's just to show you what the last hack site office at the top photo looked like, and the future, a rendering of the future facility on the bottom, and zoomed in just for clarification. Then at the north end, here is the parking garage that's being created. And all the solutions, the building is being constructed with sustainable and energy efficient solutions, such as landscape, streetscape improvements, such as green spaces, bioswales, permeable pavements, which all will reduce stormwater runoff. We're expecting to receive LEED Silver certification, in part due to other energy efficient solutions, such as integrating solar panels for power and more efficient heating and cooling systems. The building will be compliant with the city's green building law, which requires any city funding facility to be designed in a certain energy efficient manner. And as mentioned earlier, with the enhanced scope, we'll have 70 EV charges that will be available for the TLC fleet and for visitors to the facility. Here's just a rendering of some of the green space, a green roof. And regarding the EV charging, so the south parking lot that I showed a moment earlier, that's where the public or licensees will be able to use the the EV chargers. We'll have 10 level 3 fast charging ports in that parking lot. We will also, at the north end, on the ground floor of the garage, and behind the garage, there's a small lot. We'll have 20 additional level 3 fast chargers that will be available to visitors to the facility. And in the parking garage on the second and third floors, which is TLC parking for our enforcement fleet, there'll be 20 level 2 chargers per floor, which brings the total to 70. So the construction plan, it was planned out in 5 phases to allow us to continue to have inspection operations while the construction is happening. We're currently in phase 1. The administrative building has been demolished. A temporary south wall has been built to protect the lanes to try to mitigate noise from the construction, as well as any kind of dust dust and debris that you get with a construction site. Phase 1, how is it affecting staff and licensees? Non-inspection operations, employee office workstations, conference rooms, lunch rooms, IT room and locker rooms all had to be moved to modular offices at the south end of the site. With regards to inspection operations, customer restroom was moved to the modular office as well. Hack site was also moved to the modular office. Only 4 lanes are currently open for inspections. And there's ongoing noise, depending on what work they're doing on any given day. And that's everything that I had. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, this was a great presentation and it looks like an awesome facility. When do you anticipate construction being done fully?
So December 2028 is the current date. We know that's going to change slightly because of the added scope for the EV charging. DDC is doing the project management, and we're expecting later this month to have an updated plan. But we'll be trying to squeeze it to as close to that December date that we can.
Thank you.
And Commissioner, most of the building has already been demolished, and then now they're doing foundational work. And so we hope to be ahead of schedule, at least meet the original deadline. But obviously, with added scope, sometimes that might be provide additional difficulty. But we're still hoping for 2028.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
That was really interesting, and actually you answered most of my questions concerning flood protection. But is the intention to make those EV chargers available to the public or strictly to facility visitors?
So it's for the public. We expect that they'll be used quite a bit by the people coming to the facility, but both areas, the reason why it's on the first floor, the ground floor of the parking garage and that parking lot is so that we could have an open area, so we don't have to worry, like the parking garage, I don't know if you saw in the rendering, it had the gate right there at the front. That's not how it's going to be. The gate's being moved so that the ground floor could be entered, so that it's 24 hours a day. Yes.
Are there any particular reasons why we wouldn't use level 3 chargers for all 70 EV chargers?
Yes, the site couldn't handle it. We worked with Con Ed for quite some time to figure out what was the maximum level 3s that we could put in. And they didn't think originally. The discussion was something like 40 in total. But we kept pushing and they actually were able to figure it out, and the grid could currently handle it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Following up on that, we're glad to see that It'll be available to the public. Will there be any charge to the public for using those charging stations?
Yes, there will be. What that model is, we don't know yet, but it will follow other city agencies like DOT or DCAS that actually provide public charging.
And relative to something we've discussed before, I presume and hope this is property that the city of New York owns?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. My other question, two other questions. One is, I noticed that you changed the lobby area. We used to, or currently, there were seats with backs to them. And it looks like there are now there are just benches. Knowing what it's like to sit into a car, a driver for 10, 12 hours straight, I would suggest that that be reconfigured so that there are backs to those chairs, so it's a little more comfortable for people having to wait. It's tough enough sitting in this. So if we could make that happen, that would be.
Sometimes
The chair made that clear
architectural
also.
design doesn't meet a function, and that's one of the things that we're definitely
Yeah,
taking a
good.
look at. It looks good by design, but maybe not by function.
Function, exactly. My
Yes.
other question is.
And it was also, I mean, these renderings are from the original design, the procurement documents that were sent out. And so it was created in 2015. So those benches haven't been ordered yet.
Under this schedule, the capacity that we have to inspect is going to be decreased. So I was wondering if there has been an allowance made for accommodating, since we can accommodate fewer, that there's a corresponding allowance made relative to the time period, so that since people, because they have to be inspected at every certain number of years, so therefore, if our ability to inspect declines, that's going to put more pressure on drivers and may make it harder for all of them to adhere to the rules relative to the time period in which they have to get their vehicles inspected. So maybe we can make some kind of allowance to extend that time period. Since we're reducing their ability to do what we're telling them they have to do, it would make sense for us to also therefore extend that time period and to accommodate for a change that, is something that we're initiating.
I hear your concern and I appreciate it, but we actually, most of the pressure is on the safety and emissions staff to actually get those cars, those appointments in with the few lanes that we have. And to my knowledge, we haven't had an issue with getting people in, on time with their schedule that for their inspection is needed. And the S&E staff, if we have to do appointments later in the evening than we're currently doing it, that's the expectation that will be done to meet those dates, as well as if we had to, open up on a Saturday as well. Those
Okay.
have all been discussed.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And Commissioner, those are all options. And let me just say that I've been extremely proud of the safety and emissions staff, right? In the last 4 months, they had to do visual and physical inspections of almost 10,000 EV vehicles, and they have gotten through that despite their original workload. And so they have been incredibly successful, very efficient. And while we're down to 4 lanes, we're still accommodating most folks who need inspections.
So it's not really creating a backlog.
It is not.
Okay.
I mean, there is a little bit of uptick on wait times, but not that much.
Good.
And so it's been fantastic.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just as a matter of curiosity, as the fleet transitions to EV, is there a positive impact on safety and emission inspection time?
Oh, that I would have to get back to you. I'd have to have.
So that's a great question. And many of the vehicles that have been purchased through the EV program have been less than 500 miles on their odometer, and they're all mostly new vehicles. And so we were able to do them through visual inspections. Then we're going to take a look at how electric vehicles in the future will impact our inspection times, and then also what we need to look at in order to make these vehicles as safe as possible to be on the road.
Any other questions?
No. Okay,
Okay. Thank you very much.
thank you.